Hi guys, Kristen Ashley here from Bell to Bells. I just wanted to record my thoughts and get some ideas down on recording as far as the whole Jeff Hardy addiction gimmick, the angle that WWE has decided to run with. When I tweet out my disdain about the gimmick, I get a lot of tweets back from people who seem to be confused as to why it's an issue. So I just thought I would tell my story and how I feel WWE is not doing him justice, and maybe it'll clear up some of the confusion that seems to be going on. Uh, I drank started when I was 16. I worked at a restaurant for the 4 years I was in high school, and I started drinking because I never felt like I fit in. I never felt good enough or cool enough, and the response to who I was when I drank, I liked it. I liked who I was when I drank. I liked escaping my real life. In college, I added some drugs to that mix, but I kept fairly well behaved because I was a good student and I liked school. When I graduated, though, everything went downhill. I got a DUI. I lost every job, a ton of friends, and and honestly, respect and trust from my family. There was legal issues, addiction, alcoholism. I cared about no one, especially myself. I tried to kill myself 3 times. And I spent the following 8 years creating a tornado of ego and chaos. About 4 years ago, I finally decided to try AA. And at first, it was just to get on the good side of everyone in my life. It was just to look like I was playing their part. And the result was that I still felt miserable for at least the first 2 years of my sobriety. And then almost 2 years ago, I decided I couldn't take being miserable anymore. I was tired of losing everything in my life, and I saw my relationship with my family dwindle. I changed everything. I went full force into a 12-step program. I stayed at a sober house. I roomed with other sober women. I worked multiple jobs to start paying back all the damage that I had done. I went to 4 meetings a week. I met with my sponsor. I did readings with other women in the program. Jeff Hardy has gone through more ups and downs than I could ever imagine. And like me, his addiction is complex. I don't know Jeff personally, but I know hundreds of addicts, and I know that we look for similarities in our stories and not the differences. WWE is not acting like a support network. They're not looking out for his best interest by playing out his life like some biopic. Could you imagine having to go to work and your day consisted of replaying the hardest parts of your life over and over again? Would you feel like you were being taunted, dragged through the mud, being treated like a joke? I would. In my program, they give the advice that people who are newly sober shouldn't date or make any life decisions that are tough within the first year of the sobriety. Why? Well, it takes that long just to clear your thoughts, to get over the cravings, and to bypass the tendency for an addict's sick brain to do everything it can to turn an addict back to their poison. I still have that happen to me after 4 years. People with decades of sobriety still have a mind that will run through hoops just to get that drink or drug. Jeff is newly sober. Every time you relapse, you start from day one. He doesn't need his willpower tested. He doesn't need to be a gimmick. He needs serenity and he needs support. There's a lot of people who say, well, Jeff's an adult. He must have given the go-ahead. Yes, he is an adult, but an adult whose cognitive abilities only want to sabotage Jeff, and an adult who will look for any excuse to relapse again. You wouldn't put a heroin needle in front of a clean heroin addict, so why put a fake bar in front of Jeff? In AA, they say once an addict, always an addict, and it's true. A man I know was sober for 23 years. One day, he went to a wedding and just suddenly picked up a drink and drank. He couldn't tell you why he did it, but he suffered after. There was no stopping him after that. Sometimes you have to take the trigger out of the addict's mind. Sometimes you have to make the decision to care for a person's well-being and remove the temptation. WWE isn't doing that. They're not acting like a normal company and giving him some sort of assistance program. WWE sees this as some sort of punchline. I feel sorry for Jeff and everyone else involved. His family has to be hurting. Please, let Jeff heal. Give him serenity. Don't make it harder for him. I lost 4 friends this past year to addiction because they couldn't escape their drug. Don't play with fire. Just let him heal.